All right. So the topic is iterator methods. So I'm assuming now so far you know the basic array methods. That's okay. We still have many more methods which can be used with array. So I'll come to that. But today let me talk about iterator methods. What are iterator methods? The name itself says iterator, which means repeating, which is basically you know visit each of the element. Instead of repeat, I would say repeat in a kind of a loop. Okay, visit each element. That's what is the meaning of iterator methods when it comes to my mind. So, or yeah, when you say iterator method, this is what comes to my mind. Visit each element. Now, given an array of elements, so what are the different methods which actually iterate through each of the element? What are some of the methods which can actually iterate through each of these elements? So there are popular methods, yeah, with array. One is called for each method. Another method, yeah, is actually, which is the one? You got find method. You got array filter method. You got a method called map method. You also got what is called as reduce method. So like this, there are many methods, but if you these are the important ones. At least you should know. You will use these methods very commonly. In other frameworks and all, we will come across these methods. Yeah, and these are called array methods. Okay, they are not called functions. Just remember this. So when do we call a method? If they are existing on an object. Now where do they exist? Where do this method exist? Yes, they exist on an array instance. Yeah, on an array. On an array. Let's say if I create an empty array, yeah, let arr is equals to empty array, and I check array dot, I'll be able to find out, see that this method is available. For each is also available. Filter is also available. Map is also available. That is where, since it is available in an array, I can use this method only on an array instance. I cannot simply call for each. I cannot write okay for each. No, this is not there. This is a function because it does not have an object or a dot operator. So now we will understand the some of the methods. So as I told you, the array has very vast set of functions which are available. We have seen some of them already. Correct? The ones which are called iterary. Every is there, sum is there. Yeah, I have not told you index of. Yeah, includes method is there. Yes, so those are simple ones. So the tougher ones are these methods also. Again, to tell you another way, these are the tougher methods. Okay, now let's see the syntax. Okay, so all these methods, all these iterator methods have somewhat same syntax. I'm repeating, all these have somewhat similar syntax. There is no change in much change in the syntax. Maybe I think reduce you will see a small change, but otherwise all these methods follow the same syntax. I would like to write that first actually. So which is okay. So you will write an array instance dot method name, whatever one of this method, and this method is going to take another function as an input. Are you able to get my point? Each of this method, when you are calling, you have to pass one more function as an input. So this is what is the syntax every method will follow. Now there is one more thing you have to remember with respect to syntax. Okay, yes, they will all need a function to be passed. Another thing, important thing to remember is in terms of the syntax, this function, whatever this function is here, right? Yeah, I'll write in an expanded format. They will accept that function. Yeah, it can be an inline function or it can be any other function. They'll accept that. Also, they will invoke this particular function with three parameters. One is, okay, the element, each element. Second thing, okay, it will be index of that element. And third thing will be the entire array itself. Okay, so okay, let me write, okay, it's not arrow function since I've used a keyword function. So the signature for all this method will be like this. So you just have to remember this general syntax. You don't have to confuse between, okay, what is the syntax between all this? No, they all accept this function. This function is also called as callback function. What is the name? Callback. Why we call it as callback? Because so what does this method which I'm substituting here does is for each element in the array. For example, if 2 is there, okay, it is going to take 2 and then with that, okay, it will substitute element as 2. What will be the index of 2? What will be the index of 2? 0. And what will be the array?
0.
Array will be this entire array. Entire array it is going to pass to this function. I will show you this example. Okay, hold on for a few minutes. I will show you literally what it is. So what I'm saying is this method will call that inner function with these three set of parameters. For every element in the array, this particular method is going to call this function by passing this value, this value, this value for each element. Now 2 is done. Next turn is 5. So then what it will pass? Can somebody tell me what it is going to pass for a next iteration for that inner function? It would be 5 comma
5 comma 1 index
1 comma then the array, right?
whole array.
Then the whole array. So this is in the second loop. Second time or a second element when it is iterating, it is going to pass in the second iteration. First iteration, this is how it will do. So this will do, until it reaches the last element. So in the last iteration, okay, it will be 2 or 2, 3, 4. At the fourth index, you will have, okay, 7, 4, and then again it will pass the entire array. This is how all these methods works, basically. In a high level, this is a commonality for all these methods, for sure. Okay, now this syntax and this example will be made clear with an example. So let us see some examples. Okay, so let's take the same array. Yeah, the same array is 25037. Isn't it? Is this an array? Yes.
Yes.
So this array, yeah, has one of the method called for each. So let's see how that for each works. With that, I'll illustrate an example. See, as soon as I type for each, what it's saying? You can pass a callback function as a parameter, and then you can pass an optional argument. This question mark says an optional this argument. So as a beginner, don't worry much about this, but otherwise you can read what is this argument. It is available in MDN. So I'm writing one function. What did I say? It will be able to receive an element. It will be able to receive index also. It will be able to receive entire array also. This function, which function? The inner function. I'm not going to execute this. Let me just print, let me just print element alone. If I want element alone, I want to display 25037 one by one after the other. I can just simply say element. Now let's run. See now, in each loop we got 25037. Did we get it or no? Got it, correct? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
25037. Now let's say, my use case is I don't want just the element. I want also index. I can just print index also. Now 2 index 0, 5 index 1, 7 index 4. No. I want in my program somehow I want all the three to be available. I'm using it. My use case. My problem needs all the three. Then I can even print that also. See, this is what I was literally writing one by one. This is clear now? Yeah? Hope it is clear now. Okay. So this is the case with function. Function which is for each method now. Now here, since I want whatever I want element, then I can only receive element. Meaning I don't want to mention everything. It is just I am showing you as an example that even if this function is not receiving, okay, now you don't want, but it is all the three are passed to the function. All three values are passed to this particular function. Clear? Okay, it's clear now. Yeah. So capability is there, but you are most of the time we will be interested in the element. That is why you will not see that, okay, we write index comma array. But in some cases we want that time, yes, you have a provision to receive index. You have provision to receive the array also. This is using for each, correct? I am telling all this method works the same. Can I replace the same implementation with for filter now? Can I put filter here? Can I put filter and let's run this same function, same code, nothing change. Do you get the same now? Same thing. Shall I replace this one with map method? Shall I replace this with the map method? Do I get the same output? I'm not received array. If I put print an array also will come here. Correct? Now why I'm again explaining all of this in one go? Because they follow the similar pattern. Syntax is almost same. I'm saying almost. So you guys just should be familiar with this general syntax. That's all. Half of the thing is done with all these methods. Now these methods do differ in a bit. What is it? They do differ a bit. Let me explain what is that. And this is an important thing that you have to remember apart from the syntax. Syntax I have made it clear. Hope I have made it clear. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, one doubt, sir, in the syntax wise. Can you please scroll up?
Yeah. Maybe I can go back to the example itself. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Sir, in the parameters you have passed element index array.
This is
This
not
is
called.
mandatory.
This is not
Three
called
fields are
past.
mandatory or
No. Wait. This is not called past. I didn't pass. This function, whatever you put before this, this is passing these three arguments to this particular inner function. I also told that, okay, it is not mandatory. You have to receive the, it is just that you have a luxury to receive those two values also. Most of the common time we just receive a element. That's all. It's not mandatory.
okay, got it.
Okay. Yeah. Any other question before I explain this method and the difference? Okay. So if there is nothing, then let's move on. So the part is this method. If you remember, whenever you are learning a method, I told you three things to remember. What is it? One is a purpose. What is it?
Yes,
I told
purpose
purpose,
and a return value.
return value. Exactly. Yeah. Its parameter also is something important. Correct? We should know what are parameters. Now parameters are a bit clear. Correct? Return value and purpose is what we have to understand for all each of these method, and they differ. So what is the return value of for each? Anybody who know? Anybody know what is the return value of for each? Nobody is telling anything. Yes, no? Because you don't know. Okay, fine, no issues. So I am saying the return value of for each is undefined. One simple value called undefined. What is our return value of find? It will return,
Undefined.
no, it has two values. If at all you are finding, then it will return that element, or if it cannot find, then it will say undefined. Assume I am searching for 9 in an array. Okay, assume I am searching for, in an array 25037, I am searching for 9. So then in that case, the undefined. We will see examples for each of this. Now I am just putting the table. Okay, if at all it is able to find, then it will return that element. Now what is the return value of filter? The return value of filter is, it will return an array, or I would say it will return a sub array. Okay, if it cannot, or it might return an empty array. The return value of filter is either a sub array or an empty array. What is the return value of map? Return value of map is actually, you know, a same sized array, same size as of, input array. So input having 5 elements, output also 5 elements. What is the return value of reduce? What is the return value of reduce? The return value of reduce is, it will return a single value, reduced single value, meaning for the entire array you will have only one value. It is going to return one value. That's what is the functionality. Parameters, anything it differs? For each, no change. Find, no change. Filter, no change. Map, again no change in the parameter. Reduce, yeah, I'm writing parameters, no change. So reduce, okay, reduce will differ a bit. Okay, all these are same. All this for a, filter, map, then find, for each, they all take the same parameters, which is element, index, array. Whereas reduce will take one more additional parameter. Yeah, one more additional parameter. I think, it would be, first it will not, you know so it has a different parameter set. Let me show that when I am explaining this method. Okay, so with this you are just now getting to familiar, but still you are not able to correlate, okay, what is the purpose, what actually it returns. So let us see one by one method quickly. Yeah, and later you guys have to practice. So just watching this is going to be your waste of time, completely waste of time. Now I have written earlier, what is my array? 25037. What did I do? I use for each. What is the purpose? It is not going to return anything. Then obviously the purpose is just to iterate through each element. It is to do something with each element. Yeah, something to do with each element, and that would be simply as, okay, that would be something like element, and then, yeah, so I want to display each value. So I'm going to use usually for each. I just want to access some value. It's not for displaying only. I want to do something. I want to access the element. I want to, just print the element, or I want to pass to this element to another function. Assume I have another function. I want to call for each element. I want to call add, and I want to pass element. So anything you want to do it like a normal for loop. Instead of using normal for loop, you can use for each loop. That's the recommendation. Wherever you think there is a case where I need a for loop for array, don't use the regular classic for loop. Use for each method. Okay. Now if I execute it, anyhow, if I put console log, you will get the elements. But you observe what is the return value. Do you see what is the return value? Undefined.
Undefined.
That's what I have written here. This is going to return undefined. Purpose is just an equivalent of for loop. I need a for loop to display element, then use for each. Clear? Yes. Okay. So next, same syntax I'm going to replace with find. Now I want to find, okay, there are two cases when I'm finding it, right? Either I might find an element or I might not find an element. How it will itself will find? The purpose of having this callback function is I should write my logic to find that element. How do you find that element? Let's say I want to find 9. How do you find? Yeah. So you will basically
First
check.
they have to pass.
You will have to check. No, you cannot pass. See, find only will take this. Yes, somewhere here
Yes.
I will have some. Okay, let's say find element. I would have put like 9. In one case, I have to find this element 9, which is outside. I can use that variable inside. So I'll have to check every time whether element is equal to find element or not. Getting what I'm saying? I have to write this condition whether this given current element which you are looping is it matching to the find element. That's how I have to find. But how find will know that okay this element is found or not? I have to return the result to this. What I have to do? I have to return the result of this comparison so that find will know, yeah, okay, now if I say return, then find will keep checking. Okay, this function, this inner function is going to return. What it is going to return, can you tell me? This inner function, if I am writing this condition, it is going to return a boolean value because I am writing a condition that equals to comparison, be it equal, be it greater than, all the comparisons will give you boolean value. So this function will keep giving a boolean value to this find. Whenever find receives the true, a boolean true, then it will stop. Getting what I'm saying? Then this find will stop. Just for you to explain this a little bit better, I'll use a variable called let result is equal to element. Okay, this is a comparison. This statement will tell me true or false. That's all. And result will become true or false. Let me do a console log and then I'll also put element comma result. Just for tracing to understand, I'm writing console log. And also I'm going to return the result because I told you otherwise find will not understand whether you have found or not. So for the find you have to return that result, comparison result you have to return. You do equal comparison, you greater do comparison, it doesn't matter. All it says is you tell me what happened at the end, true or not. Did you find or not? Simple question, yes or no kind of a question. Yeah, okay, so that is actually called, yeah. So that's what is expected out of find. Now see how it is going to work. Again, I'll repeat how find was going to work. Find, no change in the function parameter. Only thing is you have to write some assertion, some kind of condition you have to write. And you have to decide whether it is found or not yourself. And that result you should keep giving it to the find. And I told you as soon as it is able to find the element, this is going to stop. It will not execute that function for next set of element. So let's say I am trying to find in the array 0. 0 comes in third place. Do you think it will go and search the last element also? Do you think it should continue to the last element when it is 0
No,
already
sir.
found?
If returns true, that execution will
No,
stop and
it should
display that.
stop. It's not like execution will stop. It should stop. How? How it will come to know? Based on this true and false only, it will come to know. So whenever this function returns true, then that element only will be returned by the find. That's what I have written here. Correct? Find will return that actual element. Otherwise undefined. Now in this case still what happens? I'm expecting undefined. Why? Because it is not there. So it has to go and search each and every element. It will check 2, 5, 0, 3, 7. Anything matches to 9. Answer is false. Everything false. Correct? What is the return value you got on the end? What is the return
Undefined.
value? Undefined. Okay. So there is another easy way to store this return value. So I am just printing it to the console. Don't confuse. So I can even put here also a variable. Isn't it? I can take this into a variable. Yeah. I can take this to a variable called response or a return value because I'm already used result. That's why I can put this console log. That's how I store a console, a return value of a function. Correct? See what happens now. At this line number 7, it is printing undefined. Or basically we got undefined. That's what we are logging also. Correct? Line number 7. See that line number 7? It's console log. Clear? Okay, we saw one example where we are telling oh, what we are telling. So we are telling here that find if in case not able to find. What if I put to find element as 0? Tell me what is the return value? What is the return value of 0? What is the return value when I put find as 0? Same thing. Again, it starts comparing one by one element, and then you see as soon as it returns true, find will stop. See that it process 2, it checked 5, it checked 0, 0 matches to 0, then true, then the loop will stop here only. Alright, so this is what is find, and at the end find will return that element only back. It just says whether you had found or not. If you have an element, then it is found. If it is undefined, then it is element is not there. That's how it communicates back. Is it clear with find and for each? Hope. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now there is a filter method. Now if you understood find, filter is another dead easy method. Yeah. So one thing with respect to find, if I want to say, this is used to search for an element, basically searching whether a given element is there or not. That's the purpose of find. Name itself says of. I don't have to explain it. It's self-explanatory. I'm sure everyone knows English. Now, filter. I said what is the return value is subarray. Okay, let's see that. So let's say for a filter, when do we use? I want to filter out odd numbers. I want to filter out even numbers. Correct? That's what we say filter, correct? Or I want to filter out all the elements which are less than 10. You can also have condition like that, correct? All the elements which are less than 10. Or all the elements who are odd actually. Mod 2 is equal to 0, which is nothing but odd numbers. Sorry, even numbers. Not odd. This is a condition for checking, even numbers. So let's say now I'll say, so what is the the result of this expression? Element mod 2 equals 0 or element greater than 10. What is the result of this expression? It's again a Boolean value. This boolean value I should give it back to the filter method. Basically this function, inner function, will be executed. Inner function is having a return statement. That return true or false will go to the filter. Simple. Now whatever element which are satisfying this condition, they all will be in the output. Till that index it will be in the output. If they are not satisfied, okay, it is going to skip that element. Okay, let's do the same thing. Okay, console log, we will put element, just same as find. Okay, same as find, you have to write it. Now what I'm going to do, this instead of directly returning, I'll put it as result. Before result, I will say this as const result is element greater than 10, right? Greater than 10, isn't it? Now let's print both the value, console log element comma result. Okay, I'm just only printing element. No, so in find I said as soon as it finds true it will stop, but filter is not like that. Filter will read each and every element. Whatever element satisfies this condition, whatever element, for that I'll get a boolean true, that will be in the output, in this output array. If it returns false, then that element will not be there in the output. Simple. But here again the return thing is, we are supposed to return, okay, we are supposed to return boolean value only, not the element. We are supposed to say yes or no, this condition is satisfied or no. Okay, let's see the result, then it will be more. You see what happened now? Empty array. Why? Because the array I am actually looking for, this condition is 25037. Is any of these element greater than 10? That's a condition I have written. Did any of these values return true?
No, sir.
No, correct? Okay, one
Yeah.
mistake I did. I think I should have not put the return first. Let me show you. I should have put this console log just before the return, because we know after return nothing will be executed. See now? It said false, it said false, it said false, it said false, false, false. That's why empty array. If this was true, then output would have been just 5 in an array. That is why I told you, sub array or an empty array. Okay, moving on. I'll show you one more variation of this. Now let's say it will have some element mod 2 is equal to 0, which means I'm just checking, assume like I'm checking for odd number or even number. Now see the result, how it is going to look like. See, for 2 it is true, that's why 2 is in the output. For 5 it is false, that's why it is not there in the output. For 0 again it is true, that's why it is in the output. So likewise it is going to check each and every element. It is not going to stop. Filter will process every element, unlike find or similar to for each. But based on this true whatever value you are returning, if it is true, then output will be having that element. You don't have to return the element. Don't confuse here. You don't have to return the element. You just have to return the result only. Boolean value only you have to return. Is it clear? Filter method. Filter. Okay, now I'll tell you one last method, map. Again, similar to this, but here we are not actually, the purpose is not to do any filtering or anything. Very simple purpose. Very simple. Again, same syntax. I've told you, nothing to confuse. Then what is the return value? Or what I am supposed to do? The name itself says it's a map. So the map is nothing but I want to transform. What if each element I want to square? What if each element I want to square? Now here we said these methods need some return value. Similar to filter find, yes, this also needs a return value. You know what we are supposed to return here? You know what we are supposed to return? Whatever you want to return. You are getting this element. Now if it is a square of this number, then what will you return? Tell me here. I should write element star element. Correct? That's what will become the square of that element. Correct? Not the square root. Square. So here in this case of map only, you have to return the actual value, not the boolean value. Filter find boolean value. In the map, you have to return the actual value. Yeah. Now let's see the output. Let's see the output. Input was having 2. 2 2s are 4. 5 5s are 25. 0. 3 3s are 9. 7 7s are 49. Is it thing clear? Is the thing clear? Yeah. This is the purpose of map. You know. So it will just take element and you do a logic. You write a logic what you want to transform that element. There are a lot of use case map for squaring. You want to do uppercase to lowercase. Yeah. Some kind of mapping A to B. Yeah. You want to map. Can you know what I'm saying? Some kind of mapping. Yes. Map. Syntax bit change only here it differs. Here you have to return actual value. Now let's say by mistake or just to understand what if I return 0 here? Can you tell me what happens? So the return result would be fully zeros. See? 0, 0, 0, 0. Why? Because you are returning 0 here. That's why. So this is why I told you. Map same sized as input array. If there are 5 elements in the input, it is going to return 5 elements. What elements? That is up to your logic. I will show you another version of this. What if I forget to return? I forgot to return this value. But I am collecting a output. Can you tell me now what will be the output? Somehow I return something. I have written my
Sorry,
logic.
empty array.
No, it's not an empty array. It's an array full of undefined values. Because if function is not returning anything in JavaScript, it means it is returning undefined. This is implicitly undefined value which is returning. Are you clear? What I'm asking for? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Yes, sir.
likewise, we'll have to understand these iterator methods. They are actually required and very important method. And I've told you, I think with these two picture, like trying to explain how similar they are and how different they are bit. Correct? We saw they follow the same syntax. And all the methods which I told you, everything follows the same syntax. Just their purpose is different or the purpose of the usage is different. Accordingly what? You have got different set of,
Logic.
yeah. So in the callback function, you will do a different value to be returned. So here there is nothing you have to return inside the callback. Here you have to return true or false. Here you have to return true or false. Here you have to return the actual value you want it in the output. Okay, so I'm going to stop here for today. Reduce method I will not be able to cover. Yeah, look at the time.